Hey friends. So I had my inspiration this morning um, showed up in the form of a kind of perspective frame that I both realized that I kind of take. It's kind of my usual MO, and I also kind of started to look at, okay, well, how does this affect what things feel like, what the elements of life feel like, the actual content of my experience. And basically the thing that showed up was, I've spoken a lot on this post about inner work, spiritual practice, meditation, yoga, various disciplines that in and of themselves are just kind of elements of life, oftentimes practices for a healthy life or for a particular kind of evolution in life, but unto themselves they're just kind of isolated practices, but overall they fit into a framework that I would call a consciousness framework or a consciousness context, which kind of to me means our own evolving consciousness, and also the evolving, watching consciousness evolve in other people, in our community, in the world, is the main thing in our life. That, and I think, I've met many other people for whom this is the case. Like that's as broad and as specific as we can get about what motivates us, what moves us. And I think anyway, so that the notion of a consciousness context is something that's definitely not new for me, not a new idea. But then I started to realize, well, okay, but there's some implications of that, and there's some ways in which this affects our experience. Because if everything that we pursue, all of our tasks, all of our relationships, all of our moment to moment thought, action is truly being held in that context. In other words, if we're really stably anchored there, then there's never a moment when we're not engaged in that activity. It's not something that we pick up and put down. It's not something that kind of like we put in a 40-hour work week and then spend the rest of our time not doing that. It's literally, there's never from the, I mean, you can do this work in your sleep. You can do this work at the threshold of wakefulness and sleep. You can do this work in your relationships with your family members and loved ones, and you are doing this work inherently on vacation as much as you are when we're on the busiest work day of the year. There's no time that this is not at the animating us or infusing us with a kind of energy and direction. And what I love about that is, there's things I love about it, and then there's things that I think there are things to be aware of or to be conscious of, because one of the things that it does is it unites work and play, not by making them the same thing in our life. They're two, they might be two different things. They might be the same thing, but they might not be. But this perspective unites them by transcending them with a kind of higher motivation, or a sort of higher purpose for all of them, for everything. Work, play, leisure, you know, everything, every state we might find ourselves in, this is there. This is kind of like where our attention goes. And I think, when I said a moment ago that there's some things to watch out for, I think the only thing to watch out for is that if our habit, and as I'm speaking for myself right now, if our habit around work is to work hard, and that that's not, has nothing to do with the evolution of consciousness. That just has to do with our own programming, or our own personal background, right? Whatever, our own habits, our patterns. If that pattern starts to kind of subconsciously run the show, then our kind of like, then we start to get into a dogged pursuit of consciousness. And that's not how you get to consciousness. That's not how it works. There's no, what are we pursuing? What are we seeking? Right? And I think I'm saying that specifically for myself. I don't think that I'm probably unique in this, but I'm saying it because that's something that I know has happened to me. I've watched it happen to me. I've watched and it's like the color of life changes. All of a sudden, the nature of what life feels like. We might be doing all the same things. We might be meditating constantly. We might be doing lots of yoga. We might be like doing all the right things to maintain a sense of expansive consciousness in our life. But if there's a kind of seed of, I don't know, getting it right or attaining something underneath, it sort of starts to either get even the slightest foothold in the process, then it can kind of turn this pursuit into something that it's not, and it can give it a timbre, a feel that's no longer that wholesome. And so I think that's kind of an aside as a danger of this perspective, but it's an important one. It's important, especially for people like me, to keep in mind. But back to my kind of original thrust of this, the way in which holding everything in a consciousness context creates space and creates movement and it just creates a kind of endless inspiration. There's nothing ever that's not part of this game. And ultimately, it is a game. Ultimately, it's like the mystics say, this life, this individual life, this partial perspective where I have limited vision. I see through my eyes. This body looks at the world from this point in time and space. That is an illusion. That's God playing hide and seek with himself or herself. their self. That's the universe playing a game of self-knowledge through partiality, because the infinite is the infinite. Not, you know, infinite time is the same thing as saying no time. The infinite needs to know itself through this. This is, you know, this is why the gods came to Earth. It's that. It's that. It's that. This is in images throughout myth, throughout human history, and so it's a game. It's like a child, and it's a childlike game. It's a game on the level of innocence and joy. That's kind of, yeah, almost childlike. And so, you know, that doesn't negate or dismiss any of the genuine problems facing the earth or facing human beings. But I think a consciousness context puts the it gives the purpose. It lets us know what's really going on within these problems. If these problems are about expanding consciousness, that it frames things in a way that allows us to kind of make sense of some of them. I mean, you know, as I reflect on it, and you know, even just a little quick mental survey of some of the issues facing the world and facing people in different parts of the world, in different communities, right, that might be right nearby, you know, you start to think it's overwhelming. You start to think it's a lot. And I think one of the most important things we can do for ourselves and for the people we're around, the people that are in our actual immediate life that we have connection with, is create meaning and create meaningful structures for creating meaning, for creating value out of the experience, out of all the experiences of life, whether they're the highs or the lows, whether it's the work or the play. And I think, you know, a consciousness context, a consciousness, you know, or an evolutionary context does provide that. It creates the possibility of deep, profound meaning, even when a lot of other contexts would fail to do that, when a lot of other perspectives on events or predicaments would fail to do that. They're not capable of explaining, or it's not so much explaining, but deriving meaning. So I think it's a big thing that I'm hitting on, and it's kind of, you know, like I said, it's how I think about my life, and it's the point of this post, but it's also something that is always inherently new for me every day. What does it mean to do that? What does it mean to show up and hold everything within the context of evolving consciousness? So it's going to change minute to minute, from from one conversation to the next. Not the fundamental nature of that, but the expression of that, the in the world expression of that has got to be continually renewed. So yeah, it's sort of like a relief and a challenge at the same time. That's the effect too. It relieves certain tensions out of life, and sort of like lets you let go of certain fixations, and at the same time creates the challenge of a new kind of responsibility that is not insignificant. That is its own kind of spiritual lift. So I think that's what I got today, folks. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.